Hegseth, are the Marines in Los Angeles ordered to protect property by any means necessary?
Sir, I would say the ICE officers and police officers being attacked is not political theater. The National Guard and Marines,
just yes or no. Just yes or no.
The National Guard and Marines have the full authority to protect federal ICE agents.
Yes or no.
Just
can you just say yes or no? This isn't Fox anymore. Just yes or no. I'm going to beat this drum because you refuse to take responsibility. Will you take responsibility for having made a mistake? Not to mention, many people would say break the law in participating in the Signal group chat that included a journalist, your wife, your brother, where classified information was shared. I have called for your resignation. I didn't think you were qualified before your confirmation, and you have done nothing to inspire confidence in your ability to lead competently. Secretary, do you think the United States should continue supporting Ukraine in its fight against Russia, a nation that is hostile towards the United States?
Well, as you know, sir, President Trump is committed to peace.
No, I just want yes or no answers.
Today, the United States has spent billions of dollars.
Yes or no? Yes or no?
Over years.
Just yes or no. Can I get a yes or no out of you?
We continue to send presidential drawdown.
It's that easy. Kindergartners can give me a yes or no. Yes or no.
Yes, we support peace in Ukraine.
Come on. Is this really leadership? You're an embarrassment to the United States. I'm not going to waste my time anymore. You're not worthy of my attention or my questions. You're an embarrassment to this country. You're unfit to lead, and there's been bipartisan members of Congress that have called for your resignation. You should just get the hell out. It shouldn't come as no surprise that I have serious concerns with both the deployment of the National Guard and the Marines to Los Angeles. I served in the Marine Corps. We are trained to be war fighters, not for crowd control. Everyone here should be alarmed that the president has sent armed forces into a city against the wishes of a governor and mayor. I am concerned this administration is purposely escalating the situation with this step and politicizing our armed forces in the process. Let's call it for what it is. It's political theater. Hegseth, are the Marines in Los Angeles ordered to protect property by any means necessary?
Sir, I would say the ICE officers and police officers being attacked is not political theater. The National Guard and Marines,
just yes or no. Just yes or no.
The National Guard and Marines have the full authority to protect federal ICE agents.
Yes or no.
Can
you just say yes or no? This isn't Fox anymore. Just yes or no.
They're there to protect federal agents and federal.
Another BS answer. Under the SRUF, the use of force, are Marines allowed to fire warning shots?
No.
Now that's more like it. Isn't that easy? Well, I'm going to beat this drum because you refuse to take responsibility. Will you take responsibility for having made a mistake? Not to mention, many people would say break the law in participating in the Signal group chat that included a journalist, your wife, your brother, where classified information was shared.
Sir, every way I communicate is authorized.
Okay, if you want to say that. I have called for your resignation. I didn't think you were qualified before your confirmation, and you have done nothing to inspire confidence in your ability to lead competently. You broke the law in sharing classified information, and in doing so, endangered the lives of our service members that you are responsible for. Your inability to hold yourself accountable makes you incapable to lead. This alone makes you unfit to be the Secretary of Defense. Secretary, do you think the United States should continue supporting Ukraine in its fight against Russia, a nation that is hostile towards the United States?
Well, as you know, sir, President Trump is committed to peace.
No, I just want yes or no answers.
The
Today,
United States has spent billions of dollars.
yes or no?
supporting
Yes or
Ukraine
no?
over years.
Just yes or no. Can I get a yes or no out of you?
We continue to send
Come on.
residential drawdown
It's that
authority.
easy. Kindergartners
Ukraine.
can give me a yes or no. Yes or no.
Yes, we support peace in Ukraine.
Come on. Is this really leadership? You're an embarrassment to the United States. If Russia invades NATO allies, are you going to recommend to the president that we fulfill our Article 5 obligations?
Well, Russia has not invaded NATO allies.
No.
President Trump has invigorated the NATO
No.
alliance.
I reclaim my time. Yes or no? It's that simple.
There's Article 5 in NATO, which we recognize.
So is the answer yes or no?
That's what Article 5 is, yes.
Good. I'm glad you brought yourself to saying yes. Do you think political allegiance to Trump is a requirement for serving our nation, either in uniform or a civilian in the department?
I'm incredibly proud, as are millions of Americans.
No. Not today, Hegseth. Yes or no?
Congressman, you know what a silly question that is.
But silly enough
fidelity
to
the
warrant a
Constitution.
very straightforward answer. Yes or no?
We all support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
You know
We're
what?
proud of
I'm not going to
President
waste
Trump.
my time anymore. You're not worthy of my attention or my questions. You're an embarrassment to this country. You're unfit to lead. And there's been bipartisan members of Congress that have called for your resignation. You should just get the hell out and let somebody competently lead this department.
Mr. Chairman, do we not have any decorum in here?
Thank you very much. I yield my time.
Gentleman yields back, and I would urge everybody to remember and maintain a decorum suitable for this chamber with their further comments. The chair now recognizes the gentleman from Tennessee, Dr. Desjardins.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I would like to thank you, Secretary Hegseth and General Kane, for bringing pride, strength, and respect back to our military. Many critics have described the president's deployment of the National Guard in Los Angeles as unprecedented. But as you know, we've seen similar actions throughout history, from Eisenhower sending the 101st to Little Rock, to Johnson and Kennedy federalizing the Guard over the objections of Southern governors during the Civil Rights era, to George H.W. Bush deploying federal troops during the 1992 L.A. riots. Isn't it fair to say that there's a well-established precedent for presidents acting when state leaders are either unwilling or unable to enforce federal law or protect federal facilities?
Sir, nothing that we're doing on the ground is unprecedented. I would argue what is unprecedented is a governor and a mayor unwilling to protect law enforcement.
Well, thank you for being willing to step up. Considering we're going to shift gears here to the nuclear armed sea launch cruise missile program. I just wanted to touch base on that other subject because I think that's ridiculous that the criticisms that we're hearing in the media. But with Putin talking freely about using low yield or tactical nuclear weapons, I think it's important we discuss the SLICM-N program for a minute. As you know, restoring SLICM-N capability to the Navy was recommended in President Trump's 2018 nuclear posture review. The Biden administration proposed to cancel this program, but based on consistent testimony from our senior military leaders that this system was necessary to address deterrence gaps, Congress continued to fund it, and in the FY24 Defense Authorization Bill required the department to create a dedicated program of record for its development. What is your view of the SLICM-N program and the broader issue of modernizing our nuclear forces to ensure we have nuclear deterrent that meets the evolving threats we're seeing?
Well, so your characterization is correct. I want to thank Congress for keeping SLICM-N effectively alive under the previous administration because we think it's a critical capability. And you'll see in the FY26 budget, we fund it at over 1,000% increase. So we completely recognize the need for that capability alongside the entirety of the nuclear enterprise. Is critically important to maintain deterrence. If you're going to have peace through strength, if you're going to reestablish deterrence, you need to have a credible deterrent, especially at the foundational and baseline level, which is the nuclear level.
And General Kane, STRATCOM commanders and your Vice Chief Admiral Grady have testified about the importance from a military perspective of being able to provide the President with an additional response option, and how SLCM can strengthen deterrence by providing a non-strategic response option that is not air delivered. Do you share that view?
I do.
Thank you. And General Kane, your testimony warns that the PLA's exercises around Taiwan are not just pressure campaigns, but rehearsal for force unification. Throughout my visits to our regional partners in the Indo-PACOM region over the last few years, you can feel that there has been a rising tide of recognition that China is a threat on their doorstep and ours. As the United States and the world has awoken to the increasingly adversarial actions of China, can you expand upon how the DoD is right-sizing our force structure to prepare for a conflict in the Pacific should our adversaries continue to escalate tensions in the region? And what are we doing now, not years from now, to ensure we can stop that move if it comes?
Yes, sir. Well, first, I share your, I share your views and those of Admiral Paparo related to what certainly appears like increasing rehearsals by the PLA in and around the Pacific. The administration and the Secretary in particular, through our interim National Defense Guidance and Strategy, which I won't get into in this forum, but is clear around the need for the department to focus on the Pacific and to scale our combat capability with systems, capabilities, and effects that would prevent Xi from advancing his narrative and create, frankly, multiple simultaneous dilemmas in their decision-making. And so we continue to work diligently on that through the services, as you talked about, and it's something that I'm keenly focused on with my global integrator role.
Okay, thank you. And I think Secretary Hegseth, you covered that pretty thoroughly in your opening statement. So I'm out of time, and I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. Chair, and I recognize the gentleman from California, Mr. Khanna.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Secretary, I'm hoping we can start where we may have common ground: no war in Iran. In 2016, President Trump was one of the few people on the Republican stage to have the guts to say that George W. Bush's war in Iraq was an utter disaster. He promised the American people no endless wars. Tucker Carlson has said that thousands of Americans will die if there's a war in Iran. And he is cautioning that currently neocons are trying to get President Trump into a war in Iran. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene has said the American people don't want to bomb Iran. Will you today assure the American people and the MAGA movement that you will not bomb Iran unless we are hit?
Congressman, it's good to hear you quoting conservatives.
When they're right, I quote them.
I will tell you this: the president has been earnestly and completely committed to a peace process, has given Iran every opportunity, those talks ongoing, but he also fully recognizes the threat that Iran with a nuclear weapon would exist.
Will you commit to us not bombing them? I mean, that's what the conservative MAGA movement is calling for it online. You'll see. I mean, they want a commitment that we not bomb Iran unless we're directly hit.
Well, here in this forum, it wouldn't be prudent for me to commit or not to commit. My job is to be postured and prepared in the region, just as the chairman.
How about this?
Would you, any potential capability?
Would you agree with this analysis that Netanyahu is itching for a fight? If Netanyahu uses American missiles to hit Iran, he's going to drag us into a war there because Iran's going to say they're using American missiles. Our military knows that you cannot just through hits eliminate Iran's nuclear capability. They'll simply go underground, and they will then end monitoring. And unlike Iraq, they're in heavily civilian sites. Will you stand up today and make it clear to Netanyahu that that escalation, what he's threatening just yesterday, is not in the American interest, that he should not be dragging America into war with Iran?
Well, Congressman, that question included a lot of speculation. What I know is that Bibi Netanyahu is going to put his country first, and we're going to put our country first, and we're positioned properly in the region to ensure that we're prepared for any potential contingency.
Are you concerned about his escalation into Iran, and will you assure the American people you're going to do everything possible to keep us out of a war in Iran?
We remain, as the president has said, committed to creating the conditions for peace, creating the conditions for talks where Iran does not have the ability to develop a nuclear weapon.